Prachi Gadgil is a mind coach, certified storyteller, and an experiential facilitator with more than 9 years of experience in the industry. She has trained people in areas of mindfulness, goal orientation, effective collaboration, art of positivity, balance, and self leadership. She has also worked with corporate industries like Praj Industries, Gabriel, Sanjeev Auto, Suratwala Housing, and so on and so forth. She is known for her openness, sincerity, simple mind exercises that help assist goal orientation, expansion, and resilience. And as far as PCU is concerned, she happened to visit our campus a couple of weeks back. We also had a meeting with PVC sir regarding FDB program that she had proposed, and we are looking forward for that program as well. So, considering her great credentials, we look forward for an enriching session from her in this webinar. That's all. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a very different session for me as well because I don't get to see the participants. So this is like an interesting thing for me as well. Normally, it is all about interactions. So let us look at what experiential learning is all about. Just a quick question, Gaurav sir. Do we have the chat enabled for participants? Can they type anything or they can't?
No, ma'am. Present, it's not on. I think only for Q and answer Q&A we will give you the access. As Sangeeta ma'am, I discussed with this point with just now with Sangeeta ma'am.
Okay,
So it
fine,
is that way.
fine, fine.
You
During
can
the
give an extemporary talk and then Q&A session. We will
Perfect,
have some
perfect.
questions.
Let's do it then.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks to PCU. Thank you so much, Sangeeta ma'am and Gaurav, for your unrelentless support and resolving all my queries so far. So, very warm welcome to all of you for being here. So, the whole concept of cognitive learning, since childhood, we have been schooled in different ways in different institutions through different teachers, and we have been learned to live in a certain fashion. We have been trained to understand processes, understand, work on our memories, work on our concentration, and there has been a certain framework in which we have been brought up, in which we have been brought up. Nevertheless, experiential learning takes a huge, huge, huge chunk in our lives, though very, very unconsciously, all of us have been going through experiential learning. For example, whenever you were a child and that was the first time you took the first step, when you were learning to walk for the first time, there was nobody to draw a diagram for you to tell you on a projector or on a notebook or on a blackboard what the importance of walking or it is. You were observing others around you, how they took steps. Maybe initially there were your parents or your grandparents or any nanny or any seniors in your house who helped you, who maybe held your hand, you wobbled a little, you managed to put your feet one by one. Maybe it was a little shaky inside somewhere, there was a little restlessness in your system. Nevertheless, slowly you took your first step, then slowly you managed. Then maybe there was some internal processing that happened that you understood that I need to put my balance this way or that way. Maybe rationally at that age, you and I did not understand what this learning meant. But all this comes under the concept of experiential learning. So every human being has been a very, very powerful experiential learner so far, right since their birth. So it's never happened that people have not understood or not known this concept. So this concept is very, very, very much imbibed within ourselves, within you and me, right since we were born. It's just that it was never explicitly shown to us that this is cognitive learning, this is experiential learning. And my journey here, my job here is to just to make you aware of that you all are amazing experiential learners. Can we just focus a little, slightly be a little more mindful of our journey of experiential learning? Why this experiential learning is important? Because it invokes our presence. I am more present, I am more here when I'm learning, when I'm understanding. What is it? When I'm experiencing, when I'm feeling. So there are five senses. I'm sure we're all aware of our five senses. The sense of the visual sense, that is our eyesight. The sense of hearing, that is our auditory sense. The sense of smell, the sense of touch, and the sense of taste. So what happens is in experiential learning, all these five senses are important. All these five senses are invoked. And the moment my five senses are invoked, I'm right here in the present moment. See, there's a very, very rare likelihood that I'm fully present in this moment. Unless I'm an enlightened soul, unless you are an enlightened soul, very rarely we are fully present. So, what experiential learning does it involves either of our senses. Either of our senses are involved, and which forces an individual very, very subtly to be present in the moment. And the probability of whatever that I'm learning, whatever that the person is giving to me, or whatever that I choose to receive from the system outside is reinforced as an anchor in my brain. When we talk about mindsets, first we need to understand a little bit of a neural network. See, we all are wired differently. Every human being who's born on the planet has a different neural wiring. When I say wiring, it means the paths of neurons, the circuits that are created in my brain, which eventually constitute to the concept of mind with a little bit of logicality and intangible reasoning attached to it. So when I talk about neural networks, we all are wired differently. So the way you look at the world, the way your friend, your mom, your teacher, your peer, me, everybody looks at the world differently. Each one looks at the world in their very own special perspective. That is where the concept of mindset comes into play. Whatever that I have been seeing through my plexiglass, in generally the neuroscience, we always talk about plexiglass. Plexiglass is like very, very typically we say whatever goggle I'm wearing, that is how I see the world. So that is similar to the concept of plexiglass. I always see the world through a plexiglass. Whatever that you've been experiencing for so long in your life, for so many years, that is how you see the world. And we are not here to find out whether what you're saying is right or wrong. Everybody is entitled to have their own perspectives, own vision of the world. What experiential learning, developing a mindset for experiential learning does is it just broadens and widens the scope of your plexiglass. So now, if I'm, let's say I have this cell phone in my hand, which normally all of us are fond of, including me. I am not an exception. So I also love to use this a lot. So whenever we look at, pardon, did somebody say anything?
No, ma'am, nothing.
Okay,
Continue, please.
okay. So whenever we talk about this plexiglass, so we look at this cell phone, and each time when I look at the cell phone, am I going to see anything different? No, because I'm only concerned in the contents inside. But the moment I'm in the process of experiential learning, the moment I'm in the process of widening my mindset, that is the time I start noticing things about the cell phone which I've not noticed before. Maybe there are certain people who are more visual, so they are more focused on the cover, the decor, maybe at the most the brand, whether it's an iPhone, Samsung, or whatever the latest brands are. I'm not a techno geek, so I'm not aware of the latest brands. At the most, we observe that. But what experiential learning does is it teaches you to look at everything in a very, very holistic manner. It gives us a 360-degree model view. And that is exactly what enhances our being, enhances our person. There are different steps of experiential learning, but the first and core and the most important step of experiential learning is willingness. Willingness to look at self and the world in a slightly different way. Nevertheless, it might come as a surprise because there are certain things which we have not seen about ourselves may surface. There are certain things which we know about ourselves, but we have not acknowledged surface. And there are also certain very, very beautiful, welcome things in the world which we have failed to notice also surface. So it's a very, very beautiful journey of feeling, understanding, assimilating, reflection. So it's a mix of all those. All that we need to begin with is a willingness that yes, I have learned cognitively for so many years. Now let me look at something different. It's as simple as, for example, when you go to a restaurant, you like, let's say, what, Chinese, and you've been constantly ordering Chinese, and suddenly the chef comes there and says, we have a different Indo-Chinese flavor today. We have a new chef who's come in. He's come in with his beautiful flavors and he makes some yummy recipes. Would you like to try one? Now there's always a choice. Either you go in for it or you don't go. If you go in, you have taken the first step in your experiential realm because you're about to experience something in the unknown. You don't know whether you like it or not. Nevertheless, you benefit because you gain knowledge about a new recipe, about some new flavors. You have a little perspective in their menu with what the chef is doing behind, maybe a little understanding, a superficial understanding, and an in depth understanding about your own liking, whether I like this or I do not like, whether I'm experimentative enough in my life or am I not. Am I willing to adapt if somebody else in the group says, okay, let's try this recipe? Internally, I'm a little jittery, I'm a little nervous, I'm not very keen on trying this recipe. Nevertheless, do I give in and I say yes, or I put my foot down and say, नहीं यार आज नहीं order करते, कुछ और है, आज experiment करने का कोई mood नहीं है. Let's just go with the standard stereotype. When you're doing the standard stereotype food, also you are in a mode of experiencing things. Because you know the taste, it is at the back of your mind. The moment you have the first bite, you're like, now I remember, it is just the same. Or maybe there's a little mix, little change in flavor, and you're wondering, is the chef the same? If they take the same time to deliver it, did they make it the same way? So there's a lot of neural processing that is involved. So whenever I'm cognitively learning, my neural processes are intensely high. But when I'm in experiential mode, my neural processes are slightly on the lesser side because I'm more in the feeling realm. So it's as simple. If I touch my hand, my suddenly my focus goes to my own hand, to my own palm. Now my awareness is shifted to my own palm. There's something that I'm feeling there. So suddenly the thoughts which were on in my mind for so long, there's a deviation of focus and there's a feeling here. There's an experience on my hand. Whether I like it or not is immaterial. But suddenly my focus shifts. And I'm here in the body, in the present moment. One of my senses activated very strongly, much larger than the remaining four senses of my being. And each time when any sense is activated very largely, your presence comes here, in this moment, here, right now. And then whatever I'm learning, it's like a jiffy, it just gets recorded in my system. It's like a brain anchor. I need not do any other work. I need not put any extra effort to understand, to remember, to memorize it. Experiential learning does not talk about memorization. It just talks about your presence, your being here. Another beauty of experiential learning is you may or may not participate, yet you will learn. So there have been times we have been in groups and there have been certain people who have said, no, I don't want to be a part of this activity. Magic, beautiful. You stay outside and observe. An observer also learns multifold because sitting outside, he's also observing his own feelings and he's also observing the feelings of people who are participating. So, another beauty of experiential learning is whether you are a part of it or you're not a part of it, you end up learning maximum and it just gets anchored here. So, no matter when you are able to recollect it anytime. Just to give you a real life example, let's say maybe it's like riding a bicycle, or maybe you're in some pottery class. So, when you learned the bicycle, how did you learn? Did your parents draw a diagram for you? Were you told what is the diameter of the wheels? What is the circumference? How the way? Maybe a little idea you had about how the bicycle works. Maybe they must have told you about the brake, the pedals, that's about it. But were you told what principle it runs from? How many spokes does it have? What kind of oil is used in the brake liners? Were you taught all of that? No. You just sat on the bicycle. Maybe somebody held you tightly so that you don't fall down initially. Or maybe you must have stolen a cycle from your friend, requested, or taken your elder brother or sister's cycle, tried to ride it, fumbled a little, fell down a little, and then you slowly got the hang of it, the balance. The knowledge of the brake liners, the wheels, maybe the circumference is necessary. But beyond that, if you have to get into execution mode, you have to experience, you have to feel how it feels to actually ride the bicycle. Same with a pottery class. No matter how much I have learned technically, how the wheel works, there's a rhythm, there's a motion, this type of clay, this, that, I have to use my hands in this fashion. Till the time I have actually sat on the wheel, put my hands in the mud, I don't know whether I like it or not also because it's an unknown experience for me. I don't know how it feels because I've never felt it. I've just heard it from somewhere. Or maybe from somebody shared their experience, which was phenomenal. I feel a little excited, I feel a little motivated, and I take on the first step to go to the class. But till the time I have actually sat there, put my hands in the mud, felt what it feels, and then understand that maybe I'm not able to match the rhythm. It takes certain amount of effort to match the rhythm of the field, to get in sync with the energy of the wheel. And then maybe I will be able to create a better pot out of it as desired, or maybe it would take some other shape because my hands are still not skilled. But what it is doing to me as a person, it is making me aware of my own liking, of my own understanding, making me aware of, oh, ABC are my skills. I need to work on DNA. But I'm already great at ABC, which I failed to notice in the grind of life. It makes me completely phenomenally aware of my system. And the moment you are aware of your own system, my inner world changes, my outer world changes. See, we are like a reflection. This is my inner dream, this is my outer dream. Whatever is in my inner dream is projected in the outer dream, that is in my outer reality. The moment my inner reality shifts, the moment my experience of life shifts, my outer reality also shifts. But for that, first, I need to get into a mindset. I need to get into a space where I have space for something new, where I have space to learn something in a different fashion. It takes a little to let go of your existing patterns because you and I have been taught in a certain fashion for so many years. And suddenly somebody comes up and says, no notebooks, no paper pens, no projectors, no screens. Let's just come on the floor, dance a little, and then you're done with your communication skills. It's a different concept altogether. I don't understand how my mind is going to learn through all this because nobody has shown me anything on the screen. I am not taught any steps. They have just told me to dance for the next 20 minutes. And suddenly, that makes me a confident person. I'm able to articulate well. And this is because the mind learns very less through language and very largely through actions, pictures, and images. That is how our subconscious learns. So the more we act, the more we experience, the more we see, the more we hear, the more we smell, the more we feel, we learn faster. So that is all about experiential learning. Now, there are certain steps in experiential learning. First, as I said, is willingness. The moment you and I are ready to experience something, learn something in a different manner, allow ourselves to be surprised with our own skills, the skills of the outside world, you can start begin with experiential learning. So the first and foremost is willingness. I'm sure everywhere willingness is needed. To be here in this webinar is also a choice you've already taken. That's the first step to willingness that you've already done. So no matter where we are, willingness is crucial. But I reinforce that an experiential learning, a will to experiment with yourself, a will to look at yourself and the world. Maybe it could be your studies, it could be your personal life, it could be your professional life, any damn thing that you want under the sun, or you choose to have it for yourself. The first thing is an open mind, a willing mind. Yes, I am willing to look forward to this. The second most important thing is just allowing the experience to happen and not resist it. So, when I'm in the process of any activity, I just allow that activity to flow. Maybe I'm not a great dancer and the activity that is happening is about dance. I just twitch, I just move a finger here or there, I just move a foot, but yet I'm there. I'm just present to notice what's happening to me. Of course, the facilitator will always be there to take care of you, to support you, to ensure that you feel more loved, more secure, more warmth in an environment where you feel out of place. So don't worry, that will always be taken care of. Nevertheless, all you have to do is you have to just be through the activity. The second step is then start noticing what was happening to you. What happened during that experience? And when I'm reflecting on myself, what did I observe about others? See, another very, very, very crucial concept of experiential learning is observation. Not just observing self, but observing everything else around. See, it goes hand in hand. The world and me, we cannot live as islands. No matter how much I like being solo, being on my own, doing my own stuff, we cannot survive as islands. We have to learn to live cohesively with each other, with our family, with our peers, colleagues, seniors, with the vendors, clients, everybody on the planet. We need to learn to live in cohesion. Experiential learning also gives you a little more flexible, a little more adaptive, a little more understanding approach about life. It makes you a little more compassionate because the moment I observe somebody is going through something, that is the only time I have a choice to take action. If I'm completely self engrossed, I would not know what's happening with the other person. So, experiential learning also talks about being a little more observant about your surroundings, about your experience, about your feelings, about the people, situations, things, everything around you. So, when we talk about presence, along with presence and willingness comes observation. Now, the next step is reflection, really assimilating what all happened. Initially, it could seem like a task because I'm always here, there, in the future, in the past. When will this webinar end? What is she really trying to say? Have my friends joined the webinar? Do I really have to attend this? What will happen next? I have to have take this admission, score those grades, finish this at home, whatever. We have millions and millions and millions of thoughts going around in our head. But experiential learning says, can you pause them for a split second and just get inside and see what did the last few minutes do to me? What did I feel or observe about myself and the people around me in this activity, whatever activity that was happening? It could be as simple as is in this moment, take a pause for 30 seconds as you are listening to my voice and just ask yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? The moment you are connected to your feelings, your presence is here. The mind can run everywhere. The body cannot. The body has to be here in this moment. And that is the moment of realization. That is the moment of ultimate growth. That is where it's like an aha moment. My mind is open. Now I'm ready to take something interesting because now I'm here. I'm present. So beautiful activity which you can do daily, at least 5 times a day. Five is the least, but minimum 5 times a day. Please ask yourself, take a pause of max 30 seconds. Trust me, you need only 10 seconds, not even 30. Take a pause of 30 seconds to be on the safer side and ask yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? The day you get the answer, if you get the answer in the first go, magic, God bless you. You've already taken the first step to experiential learning. See, it is all about coming back to yourself, being aware of the present moment. The moment I understand what I am feeling, I am able to relate to my feeling. I am present. Then my focus on the task, whatever that I'm doing. Maybe it could be as simple as watching a movie, eating an ice cream, or actually working towards something very, very important that I desire to. But my presence is here in that moment. And then whatever action I take post that, the results are always amplified. Success is guaranteed for sure because your neural network now suddenly focuses on the activity at hand. And then, no matter what activity it is, your mind chatter goes on, goes away for a split second. And that split second is enough for transformation. And as a mindset coach, as a facilitator, I hold space for people to reach that split second. We train people, we create activities, we create dramatization, we have dance flows, we have different ways to deal with that to ensure that people enjoy that aha moment. And not because to enjoy the workshop or the training, but for their own realm to open up, for their own realization to spring up. That this is the key to my growth. And for each one of us, those moments are going to be different. It can't be the same. Nevertheless, if you get to experience that any time of the day, know that you've achieved a state, magical state. And after that, whatever that you do in your life, whatever activity you do, it could be as simple as talking to your best friend. It will be a very different level conversation, trust me. But all you have to do is keep coming back to yourself. Just keep checking it. So now when we talk about the reflection phase, and the last phase is actually executing and relating it to your day-to-day life. So yes, the activity went off well, the training was good, the webinar was fine, ye sab suna ho gaya, ABC sab ho gaya. What next? How do I apply it in my life? If all the gyan that I'm getting, all the things that I'm doing in life, if I'm not able to correlate in my day to day life, if as a student, as a teacher, as a human being, as a parent, as a mother, brother, sister, best friend, peer, colleague, boss, whatever role that I play in life, if I'm not able to apply that mindset, if I'm not able to apply that little bit of information that I have got, then what's the point of investing so much of energy, effort, time in all of this? So, experiential learning also ensures that you relate it to your day to day life. These are little practices which you can inculcate in your life afterwards without the support of the facilitator. There are very, very, very simple mind techniques which any human being above the age of 11 can use it for themselves. Why below the age of 11 it is not advised? Because till then generally the children are in the karmic power of their parents. So preferably, ideally it's 17, but beyond 11, yes, we can start doing it on our own. So the whole idea is the last step is execution. So experiential learning also helps you actually apply these things in your day to day. And then you'll realize that you've been doing this. Of course, it's not that you've not done or you've not achieved. You've already achieved a lot in your life. But now with experiential learning, it becomes a little effortless. It becomes a little easy. यहाँ पे प्रेशर कम हो जाता है because now it is imbibed in your system. Your spine has opened up to a new sense of learning. It is already in your spine. You need not take extra effort to enhance that. Oh, that is the beauty of experiential learning. So we talked about 4 steps. The first is about actually experiencing the activity. The second is about observing, really being observant about self and the world. Then third is reflection, how this activity has affected me, what is it doing to me. And fourth is actual application, inculcating it in your day-to-day life. So these are mota steps about experiential learning. There are very, very different approaches to experiential learning. It could be through role play, it could be through group activities, it could be through music and dance, it could be through dramatization. So depending on what kind of setup we are in, what kind of age group we are in, what kind of energy we carry that day, the structure of the workshop changes. But the whole idea is I just have to take the first step and say, I am willing to look at it. That is all that is needed. Beyond that, you don't need to know anything. Another thing is, there's a huge possibility that sometimes whatever that I have believed, whatever that I have assumed gets challenged. But trust me, it's a very, very powerful place to be in the place of experiential learning. Because let's say, okay, let me give you an example. So if I have to go to the terrace and experience something, let's say it's not this sultry weather, it's a beautiful summer evening, very pleasant. I'm going to have a cup of tea on the terrace and I'm climbing the stairs. I go up. If I choose to cling to the stairs, can I get down on the terrace and enjoy my evening tea? I can't. Are you getting the point? I have to let go of the staircase. Then only I can get down on the terrace, sit peacefully, have a lovely cup of tea. I have to let go of the staircase. Sorry, not the terrace, staircase. So when the staircase was very, very, very important for me to reach the terrace. Nevertheless, now if I have to enjoy my moments in the terrace, I have to let go of the staircase. I'm going to need it when I come down again. But in those moments, till the time I'm enjoying my time on the terrace, I have to let go of the staircase. And this is exactly what getting a mindset for experiential learning is. There are times when you have to let go of your beliefs, of your assumptions, to assimilate something more beautiful, more empowering, something which will enrich your life. You don't need to let it go permanently. But it's a beautiful game of leading and pacing. You need to know when I'm going to hold it, when I'm going to let it go. It's like learning an art of leading and pacing. Can we be leaders 24 by 7? No, at times we have to give in to the organization, to our loved ones, to our own friends, wherever we are. And sometimes we actually take the lead and say, I drive the show, I'll do everything. Nevertheless, 24 by 7 we cannot be followers, 24 by 7 we cannot be leaders. It's a very beautiful game, which again we have learned experientially. Nobody actually took us to a school, gave us a textbook on it, and said, now learn the art of leading and pacing. But over the years of life, we understood when I need to put my foot down and when I need to give in. So, experiential learning also helps you maintain these boundaries of leading and pacing very beautifully. Sometimes I am a little submissive person and I give in too much. So, experiential learning will make you aware of that and help you take a stand at times. If you notice that I'm too aggressive and I am the one who keeps pushing things, which may be in turn now because you've become a good observer with experiential learning, notice that it makes other people squeeze a little. They feel a little low or down in your presence because you are the one who's aggressive, who's pushing things. So suddenly, that tendency of yours will mellow down. Experiential learning will show it to you in a very beautiful, subtle, loving way. Please note that these activities are very, very amazing, very fun loving physical activities. You actually come on the floor, you enjoy. So when you are in the activity, it's more like a beautiful game. Sometimes a competition, sometimes some role play, sometimes some enacting, some drama stuff. Very, very entertaining, very beautiful. And after that, when you really get into the reflection phase, that is where the analysis happens. But it is done in an extremely loving, subtle way. Only you know it is meant for you. The world will still never know how Prachi is. Gaurav sir, I'm going to take your name. So the world will never know what Gaurav sir is, what Prachi is. But Gaurav sir internally and Prachi internally are going to know what's happening with them and where they need to get enhanced. So know that this experiential learning is also a very, very warm, compassionate place where we don't want to pinpoint people, where we don't want to show anybody how good you are or bad you are. There is no concept of good or bad. The whole concept of experiential learning, the whole mindset is such that I am at ladder, let's say the ring of the ladder, let's say 3, and I choose to reach the ladder level 6 for my own enhancement. This is my desire to climb up in life, or to reach somewhere, or to score something, or to have a big car, or to have a new job, whatever that I wish to, or have loving relationships, whatever my dream desire is. So I choose to enhance my life. And this learning just helps me thrive, create an environment. And as a mindset coach, as a facilitator, it is my job to hold a loving space for you. And that is all I do. There is no pressure, there is no force of participation, there is no pinpointing saying why you did not do, इसने ये नहीं किया, उसने वो नहीं किया, इसको ये आता नहीं, ये ज्यादा है, ये कम है. Please note, in the realm of the mind, everybody is equal. There is no concept of good or bad in the realm of the mind. The whole beauty of it is I just get to see how I am and what do I need to do better if I wish to move ahead in life in a very, very subtle, beautiful way through lovely physical activities where I have in my experience of last so many years, people are like, अरे यार ये end नहीं होना चाहिए था मैम और दो activities लो. And then there is after every activity, there's a very beautiful reflection that happens. A reflection again also, there is also a choice. We don't force people to stand up and share और ये बताना ही पड़ेगा वगैरह ऐसा कोई concept नहीं है. You're free to share if you're too overwhelmed, if you're too touched with the whole process, or if there's something really that you've gathered from the process, you're free to share. In fact, sometimes people are comfortable only sharing with certain people. So we allow that also to happen. So it's a very, very free flowing space. Yet, at the end of the day, at the end of whatever that session, workshop, wherever we are, people have already had much more than they have envisaged. Another magic over the years I have discovered, especially in my own journey, forget about others. In my journey, I have discovered that let's say I have gone to a workshop with an intent, or let's say even a webinar. देखते हैं होता क्या है. Maybe with just a curious mindset, or maybe somebody pushed me. My friend put चुप यार चल ज्वाइन कर ले, मैं कर रहा हूँ, तुझे भी करना पड़ेगा. I have joined that with that intention. But by the end of it, I have discovered 5 new things which I had no clue I would get it. I have learned 2 new techniques which I had never expected to receive. So each time you are always free to come to an experiential setup with some intent. Most welcome to intent. We always ask you to share your intents when you reach us. Nevertheless, I can give you a guarantee that you receive much, much, much more than you expected. You get to see some very beautiful things about yourself, about your peers, about your seniors, something which we haven't noticed, something, or maybe we have assumed, we have put these people, these situations, these experiences in a framework. That is another thing experiential learning allows you to look at. We all have frameworks, including you. That happens very inadvertently. See, over the year, I have been experiencing life in a certain fashion. So I get to believe things. I choose to pick up some societal beliefs, some parental beliefs, some beliefs which I have picked up for myself. And that puts me in a box. It makes a rigid framework. So what experiential learning urges you to do is it tells you थोड़ा सा open it with the corners slightly. Let us have some gaps at least at the corners so that the framework becomes a little loose. And like the terrace experience, if you choose to let it go, then beautiful, you are most welcome to let go of that framework for your own joy, for your own desires to achieve, for your own growth, for your own success. The only thing that you need, again, I come back to the same point. All you need is an urge to look at learning in a different way. It's a very, very beautiful technique to learn. Does that mean that we stop cognitive learning? Of course, it's equally important. Nevertheless, once in a while, we step out of our cognitive shoes and wear our experiential learning shoes. It's simple. Do we wear let's say on a trek, do we wear the same kind of footwear that I would wear when I'm going for a party? It's like that. All types of footwear are necessary. It's as simple as that. The only beauty of this footwear is this experience will remain lifelong with you. If you choose to pick up those techniques and continue with your life, you're set for life. Again, there would be multiple activities, multiple techniques that we do. As simple, does everybody like gulab jamun? Does everybody like rabdi? Does everybody like jalebi? No. People have their own choices. There could be some people who are not even keen on sweets. They prefer the tangy, sour stuff more, which is absolutely fine, or the spicy stuff. So this experiential learning offers you buffet. You choose what you wish to pick up for yourself and just keep building on that. All your job is to just consistently, diligently keep doing those exercises repeatedly. And these are very, very, very simple practices. You don't need any understanding, any intelligence, any prior knowledge of the neural science to learn these techniques. These are simple techniques which you can do at any age, of course, above the age of 11. Anytime, anywhere. There is no time restriction. There is no restriction of you have to be in a certain setup. I need to have this tamjam ready, then only I can do my mind activity. No, it's all here. See, we are most of us are already living here. 99.9%. I'm leaving 0.01% people because those are the enlightened souls. So I'm leaving out of that. We all are mere mortals. So we are living here. And experiential learning says, यहाँ से थोड़ा कभी कभी यहाँ आके come in the realm of the feelings, enjoy, experience the beauty of life, and get back to your own work with more vigor, more joy, more presence, more ease. So it's more like a journey of moving from effort to being a little effortless in your life. I think that's it from my side, Gaurav sir. If there are any questions, I would love to handle them.
Yes, ma'am. Surely, there are some participants I'm able to see who have questions. So first of
Yes,
all, before giving them the chance, I will take the first opportunity to ask you a question, which I found quite interesting in your lecture. Ma'am, actually, I have read some books of Achyut Godbole, a Marathi or renowned Marathi author. about
Right.
some similar topic and everything.
Yes.
Psychology and other topics, he has written some
Yes.
nice books. So in that perspective, from that perspective, ma'am, how do you correlate intuition and experiential learning? Because sometimes intuition, we do few things by intuition and they happen to be correct, and
Absolutely.
experiential learning is like taught way of doing it, kind of a thing, but actually feeling it. So are they correlated, or like can you
Yes,
throw some element?
absolutely, absolutely. If you keep on enhancing your awareness, if you are more in the experiential realm, automatically your intuition will flare. See, everyone is gifted with the gift of intuition. It is your gut. It's just that we are not trained to believe our gut. We doubt ourselves too much. So this space of experiential learning will enhance your stand, enhance your confidence within yourself. It will strengthen your gut and automatically your intuition will rise. So, yes, they are absolutely correlated. The more you are present, the more your intuition will surface.
Okay, ma'am, thanks a lot for that explanation. Any more questions? Gentleman is having question. Just a second.
Yes, yes, please. Is anybody asking? Sorry, I'm not able to hear anything if anybody is saying something.
Ma'am, actually, there is some. He has pinged me the question. I will just ask on behalf
Yeah,
of himself. So the
please.
question that he has, that ma'am, what is the relationship between chakra therapy and your experiential learning? I think he has picked up from your introduction. It seems.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So chakra therapy is working on a little slightly higher level of
Huh.
experiential learning. It is more about understanding how your own energy meridians work and how they play a part in our day-to-day life, how they create my outer reality. So the moment your awareness is more in the body, the more in the present moment, you are able to actually understand which are my weaker energy meridians, which are stronger, how do I work on myself to enhance my arrangement? So chakra therapy is slightly the next level, but yes, experiential learning is again the beginning. Chakra therapy is also being in the experiential realm, experiencing your own energy meridians for better prospects.
Okay, ma'am. There is one question in the chat box, ma'am. Are you able to see?
Just let me check. I'll have to wear my specs for this. Appreciative inquiry. Is that what somebody is asking?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
Pratik is asking.
appreciative inquiry is another technique. It's more of a facilitative technique wherein uh, it's more about relating to the other person, relating to the people you are with, and understanding their space and developing your approach. It is a question based approach. So it's not like the facilitator will not bombard. So, just to give you an example, I think this is the first time in my life I must have talked so much without any interaction. So, appreciative inquiry encourages the other person to speak and the facilitator to talk very less. So we just throw open questions and allow the answers to surface, and we just channelize the space for people to open up, to understand their own persona, to grow in a secure environment. So that is the art of appreciative inquiry. It is not inquiry as an E, it is I. I and QURY. So learning to inquire, look inside and look within others to an appreciative space. That is appreciative inquiry.
I hope that answers Pratik questions. And any more questions are there? I will just give about 10 seconds to if somebody
Sure.
is pinging. Oh, yeah, he has
Yeah,
responded as well.
thank you
Okay.
so much. Thanks.
Okay. I think no more questions, I think, from our side, sir, ma'am. So while I thank you greatly for the undertaking this wonderful webinar and enlightening us about experiential learning. It was a great experience for all of us, all the participants over here. And I hope you enjoyed your first interaction with PCU.
Yeah,
And
yes, it was lovely.
we will definitely look forward to have your FDP. I think you are in talks with Sangeeta ma'am. So once we get along with it, we will definitely try to connect and collaborate more actively.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure
Thank you.
interacting with you all. Thank
Okay.
you,
Thank
PCU.
you so much.